Hey everyone, glad you're here. The Trump administration has just announced a major shakeup at the Social Security Administration, and this is more than just a few policy tweaks. We're looking at new leadership, a restructured organization, and an updated push to modernize how benefits are delivered. And on top of that, there's also a new rule kicking in at the end of September that affects how some people actually get their payments. So it's a lot, and it's worth unpacking in a way that makes sense for everyday life. Before we dive into all of this, I want to hear from you. What's been your biggest frustration with Social Security in the past few years? Was it long wait times on the phone, dealing with paperwork, or maybe just feeling confused about the process? Drop that in the comments, because chances are you're not alone and your story might help someone else feel seen. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future updates like this one. I'll keep you covered as more details come out. So let's start with the big headline, because that's what everyone's talking about. The leadership at the SSA is changing in a big way. Frank Bisignano is now the commissioner, and under his direction, there's a whole new team stepping in. Now, you might be thinking, okay, new names in Washington. How does that really affect me? Fair question, but leadership matters more than most people realize. When the people at the top decide how to structure things, it filters down into how quickly your phone call is answered, how smoothly your online login works, and how consistent your monthly payment is. So who are these new names? You've got Chad Poist as Chief of Staff and Chief Risk Officer, Karen Glenn as Chief Actuary, and Nicholas Perrine as Chief Communications Officer. Those roles may sound a little bureaucratic, but here's what they really mean. A Chief Risk Officer looks out for mistakes and fraud. That matters when you're depending on accurate checks every month. The Chief Actuary is the person crunching numbers behind the scenes, forecasting how long the trust funds last and how COLAs are calculated. And the Chief Communications Officer is responsible for getting clear, accurate information out to you, instead of leaving people confused and in the dark. So yeah, the titles may sound like Washington jargon, but the ripple effects land right in your daily life. Another big change is how the SSA is structured. Instead of keeping decision-making locked up at the top, they're moving more authority closer to the front lines, the field offices, and the processing centers where real people are helped every single day. Think about it like this. If you've ever had to go to a local office to get an issue sorted, you know how frustrating it is when staff can't do much without running it up the chain. With this restructuring, they're supposed to have more power to fix things on the spot. Will it work perfectly? We'll see. But the goal is less bureaucracy, more service. And we're already seeing some improvements. Phone calls to the SSA's 800 number used to mean half an hour or more on hold. Now, the average wait is down to 6 to 8 minutes. That may not sound like a miracle, but if you've ever sat there listening to hold music, you know what a difference that makes. At field offices, wait times are down about 25 to 30%. And the My Social Security portal, which used to be down for nearly 29 hours every week for maintenance, is now up 24/7. That means if you're a night owl, or if you work odd hours, you can log in when it's convenient for you, not just when the system feels like cooperating. So that's the leadership and service side. But now let's shift to something that hits closer to home for a lot of people: payments. Starting September 30th, paper checks for Social Security and disability are ending, except for a few limited exceptions. If you're already set up with direct deposit or using the Direct Express debit card, you're fine. Nothing changes for you. But if you're still one of the roughly 500,000 people, less than 1% of beneficiaries, who gets a paper check in the mail each month, this deadline matters. And here's why the administration is doing it. Paper checks cost about 50 cents to issue, compared to around 15 cents for a direct deposit. Multiply that difference by millions of transactions, and it saves more than $2 million a year. And on top of the cost, paper checks are 16 times more likely to be lost or stolen. From the government's point of view, this is about efficiency and security. But let's be real, efficiency on paper can feel like hardship in practice. Picture a 92-year-old in a rural community, no internet, no smartphone, just used to walk into the mailbox once a month. For that person, this change isn't simple. That's why waivers exist. If you're 90 or older, if you live in a place with no real banking access, or if you have serious impairments, you can apply to keep getting a check. The SSA is supposed to reach out to folks who qualify, but my advice? Don't wait around for the letter. If this applies to you, or to someone in your family, make the call now. For everyone else, you've got two choices: direct deposit to your bank or credit union, or the Direct Express card. Direct Express is a prepaid debit card backed by the government, works anywhere MasterCard is accepted, and doesn't require a bank account. For people who've struggled with banks before, that could be a lifeline. I've seen it work well for people who just want something simple. Their money shows up on the card, they swipe it like a debit card, done. Now, here's where I want to pause and ask you, how do you feel about this change? Do you think it makes sense to push everyone digital, or do you think it puts too much pressure on older folks who aren't used to technology? Drop your thoughts below, because this is one of those issues where personal experiences really tell the story. Moving on, let's talk about the bigger picture. Social Security's trust funds are under pressure. As of the 2025 Trustees Report, the combined funds are expected to run short by about 2034. If nothing is done, benefits would automatically be cut by roughly 20-23%. Now, nobody in Congress wants to see that happen, at least not on their watch. But the clock is ticking. One proposal that's getting attention is a $1.5 trillion investment fund, seeded with $300 billion a year for 5 years. The idea is to invest long-term, let the returns build, and use that to help keep Social Security solvent without raising the retirement age or cutting benefits outright. It's a different approach than we've seen in the past, and whether it gets enough bipartisan support remains to be seen. But it shows that lawmakers are trying to think outside the box. And of course, there's the issue of cost of living adjustments, the COLAs. For 2025, the COLA is 2.5%. For 2026, projections are around 2.6 to 2.7%. Now, on paper, that looks like a steady increase. But ask anyone buying groceries or filling prescriptions, and they'll tell you the math doesn't add up. Prices are moving faster than the COLA, and it feels like benefits aren't keeping pace. That's why there's a proposal out there for a guaranteed minimum 3% COLA each year, so seniors aren't left behind during years of low inflation. Will it pass? We'll see, but it's another piece of the puzzle. And when you step back and look at all of this together, the leadership shakeup, the payment changes, the funding proposals, the COLA debates, you can see the pattern. Social Security is being pulled into the 21st century, ready or not. Some changes will feel smoother, like shorter phone waits or being able to log in at midnight. Others will feel disruptive, like losing paper checks or worrying about future benefit cuts. But all of it adds up to the same reality. The system has to evolve to keep going. So what can you do? First, if you're still on paper checks, don't wait until the deadline. Go to godirect.gov or call SSA and get set up now. Second, if you haven't created a My Social Security account, take 10 minutes and do it. It's one of the easiest ways to stay on top of your benefits and avoid surprises. Third, keep an eye on these policy debates. Even if they feel distant, they have a direct line to your wallet. And let me ask again, are you feeling optimistic about these changes or more worried? Do you think the new leadership can really make a difference? Or is it just another reshuffle in Washington? Share your thoughts, because your perspective matters here. And hey, if this has been helpful, hit that subscribe button, because I'll keep bringing you updates as they happen, whether it's about deadlines, new funding plans, or just practical tips to make Social Security easier to manage. So yeah, a lot is shifting and it can feel overwhelming at times. But with the right information, a little preparation, and a supportive community, you can navigate these changes without too much stress.